Be'ezrat Hashem, today we're going to discuss the upcoming Geula. The idea is to pump into every single one of us the excitement, the enthusiasm, to be ready for the ultimate purpose of existence. We've waited a really long time for this. I know that I'm sort of at the end of my rope, trying to hold on, so I'm very enthusiastic from this point on, even though I write daily articles called the Daily Dose of Emunah. All of my shiurim are now named Emunah and Geula, because at this point we've switched, we've made a great grand transition to a point where we can all feel it inside of us, the upcoming Geula, Be'ezrat Hashem Barachamim. Let's talk a little bit about facts, and then we'll get a little bit into maybe some practical advice of things that we could be doing in order to prepare us for the upcoming Geula, Be'ezrat Hashem. First of all, Magog is B'nai Yefet. So let's get the facts straight and understand that the upcoming war, Barachamim, is going to be against B'nai Yefet. Gog Magog, the gematria of Gog Magog is 70, the 70 nations of the world. Am Yisrael have to go through 4 different exiles. We went through Babylonian, Midian, the Greek, and now we're in Galut Edom, the Roman exile. How do we know who's involved with this Galut? What is this Galut all about? This Galut is first of all compared in the beginning of Bereshit, when Hashem describes the creation of existence. One of the words used to describe existence is tehom. The Galut Edom is compared to the word tehom, a bottomless pit. An end, but we don't see the end. In fact, is in this week's Parshat Vayetze, as Yaakov Avinu is having his dream and he sees the angels going up and down the ladder. He sees there's 70 rungs on the ladder, and the ministers of all the nations are going up and going down and going up and going down. And at one point he sees the Sar, the minister of Edom. He goes up and he doesn't come down. And he gets very frightened. And he asks Hashem, what's going to be with the children? How are they going to make it through Galut Edom? He's still up there. He's not coming down. There's no end. What's going to be? And Hashem says, don't worry. I'm personally going to take them out of this exile, the exile that we're currently in. In fact, in Chazon Ovadia, it's written, Im tagbia kenesher, ve'im hakochavim, sim kinecha, misham oritcha ne'um Hashem. If you go up high like an eagle, and if you place your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, says Hashem. But Melchut Edom, they were given the power of Gashmiut. They were given the power of materialistic power. In fact, as we see, America is on high. They are funding everything that's going on here in Israel. They fund the Ishmaelim. They buy oil from them. But Hashem brings them way, way, way up, so that when their time comes to downfall, and their time comes and they fall down, it'll mean for us that it was so high up and the downfall will be so strongly felt, it'll appear unnatural. It won't even appear to be something that could be conceived of or thought of. That's how out of world it's going to feel. So how does this play out? So one of the ideas that come out as far as what's going to happen comes from Rabbi Moshe Sternbuch Shlita, who's a great-grandson of the Vilna Hagaon. And he says, and most of the commentators agree, that he says that the war of Gog and Magog is going to last no more than 12 minutes. There are differences of opinions. Some say 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes. But the repercussions of the war will last last up to 12 months, meaning the destruction and the damage that's foretold that will occur during the war of Gog and Magog will be felt for an entire year around the world. But Am Yisrael will emerge victorious from this. It's written in Masechet Brachot that the wonders and the miracles that will be experienced from this war are those that have not been seen before in the entire history. No one will have read about it. No one will have what to compare. It will stand on its own as being something wondrous and above nature. Edom is going to be very involved with a lot of conventions, UN conventions, what to do, how do we fight, how do we make it through, and all the nations are going to be fighting with one another. And those that aren't involved with the UN meetings are going to be also fighting with one another. And Hashem at that point is going to bring upon the evil ones 4 different plagues, as brought down by Rav Sadia Gaon, who's from the descendants of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa. He brings down, it's about over 1,000 years ago that he wrote this, that this is the way it's going to play out. There are going to be 4 makkahs that are going to come onto the evil ones. The first, fire and hail will come down from Shemayim. Number 2, there will start to be civil wars between the different nations. Within the nations, but in different nations. Number 3, the flesh of the evil ones in different nations will begin to decompose. There'll be a plague, and their flesh will literally melt from within and on their bodies. And number 4, which is something that I want you to pay attention to because we're going to continue the thought after, is their limbs are just going to simply detach from their bodies and fall off. What happens with the people of this 4th category? Rav Saadia Gaon continues and explains. They go around and they travel afar, as it's written in Sefer Yeshaya, V'shalachti mihem plitim, and I will place a sign upon them, and I will send them from refugees. I will send from them refugees to the nations, to the distant lands, who did not hear of my fame, and they shall recount my glory among the nations. Their job in this 4th category is to go around to all those who maybe don't have email access and don't have WhatsApp, and to tell the world of the amazing wonders of Hashem Yitbarach that He's doing for us, Am Yisrael. And what happens when they're going to go to these distant lands? They're going to be very frightened when everyone starts hearing about all of this amazing hashgacha, the amazing divine providence that Hashem is pouring onto the Jewish people. And they're going to wonder and also convene amongst themselves, what do we do to appease the God of them, the Jewish people's God? What do we do? How do we appease Him? Should we send them money? Money's not going to do it for them. What do we do to calm the spirits? And they decide that what they're going to give is they're going to bring back, and this is a message you can tell all of your dear ones that are left in Chutz La'aretz and have not yet made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. They are going to collect all the Jews, those Jews that don't know that they're Jews, the Jews that think they're Jews but aren't Jews are not going to come, but those that are really from Am Yisrael are going to be collected by these dismembered members of the nations and are going to be brought back by chariot, by boat, by car, by foot, through the deserts, and they're going to be brought back to Eretz Yisrael, Kibbutz Galuyot. And those are the presents that the nations are going to attempt to give in order to appease Hashem's anger. So at the end, We will once again be respected, and Hashem's name will be glorified, and everyone will know the truth of Hashem, and Hashem's name will be known to all. When is this timeline supposed to happen? Well, the year 6,000 years is when we're told by the year 6,000, this entire reality as we're experiencing it right now is going to have to end. And before that, we have to go through so many things. We're now 5776. We have so many things that we have to cram into these last 200 plus years. We have to cram in the Kibbutz Galuyot and the Gog uMagog and Tchiat HaMeitim and Biat Mashiach. We have to cram in, and Binyan Bet HaMikdash. All of that has to happen. So obviously we're at the forefront of all this happening very soon in a very, very quick pace as we can feel it. When we say that the reality as we know it today is no longer going to exist, what we mean is not that there's going to be a change of government. It's not a change of just the government. It's not that the building of Knesset is going to be refurbished. It's serious change. It means that we're going from a reality of all mindset of Western culture, materialism, to a life that we're going to be fed and nourished by the word of Hashem. In other words, you're not just going to go out to the local supermarket and buy yourself some milk for your coffee. That's not what's going to give you nourishment. That's not what you're going to seek. What we're going to seek is the closeness of Hashem, and it's going to be readily available to us, and that's all we're going to want. If we want to sort of do a little bit of a comparison, we can think of this world, as is written in Tehillim, that this is sort of like a dreamlike state that we're in right now. We're like dreamers. So the question is asked, what is the difference between a dream and being awake? For all we know, we're all sleeping right now. We don't know that we're awake. How do we know we're not dreaming right now? Anyone care to share? Pinch yourself, maybe? Kick yourself? We know that we're not dreaming because we simply know. We simply know that we're awake right now. A person just knows when he's sleeping and when he's awake. And yet, when you're in the dream, you're so attached to the dream that your emotions go wild. You're so involved. You feel, you could sweat, you can cry, you'll have heart palpitations. It's so real. Also, another thing that happens in dreams is when we're in a dream, there's no sense of time. We can go through spans of time frames where in essence only 3 minutes have passed by. What do we learn from this? What we learn from this in essence is that this world, first of all, we need to value time. We need to understand that every moment that we live in this world is of great value. We don't understand what it means to have one moment of breathing in this world. One moment to serve Hashem. This world is a world of rachamim. We have the ability in this world to choose to see the truth that builds our eternity. The other thing we learn as well from the idea of dreaming versus being awake is that we need to understand that because when you're in a dream, it seems so real, but when you wake up, you realize that it's a dream. That's the same thing that's going to happen when the Geula comes, Bezrat Hashem. The Geula is going to come, and we're going to look back at our reality and say, that was a dream, like everything I just went through, all the hardships, all the davening, all the difficulties that I went through. That was a dream? That wasn't real? You mean the neighbor that was suffering from cancer, it wasn't real? You mean the arguments I had time and time again with my husband weren't real? You mean the times that I was crying over nonsense wasn't real? No, it wasn't real. Because what happens when you wake up from a dream, you realize that it was an illusion. And that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to wake up and say, whew, that was all an illusion. No one suffered, no one died, no one was killed, nothing. It wasn't real. It was all a dream. And that's the reality we have to live with now. That's the calling of our generation, is to understand, recognize, and identify the messages that are coming out from our enemies. Sharia law? Wow, that's extreme. Walking around very, very closed up. There's a message in there. Everyone has to do their bedek bait. You have to sit and think and do your accounting. Maybe Hashem is trying to tell me that I need to do something about my tznius. People, these enemies, are blowing themselves up. They have no value of life. Maybe I need to value my life a little bit more. Maybe I need to look at my life and understand that I'm kvetching all day. I'm complaining to Hashem all day long. I have no sense of value. I'm not cherishing my life for one moment. And they're here to with their passion of dying, I should adapt it and be passionate about living. I should be passionate in my avoda. That's what I should be learning. So I need to recognize and identify the signs that are coming out from our enemies, because there are Nevi'im today. We don't have Nevi'im. We don't merit to have the prophets stand and prophesy and tell us exactly what's going on. But we have messages that are told and dictated and given to us through the circumstances, through the headlines, through everything that's going on around us. So what do? How do I maintain hope throughout this it does feel real. We said when you're in a dream, it does feel real. It does evoke real emotions. What to do? Where do we get the koach from? How are we going to continue on? What's our avoda? What we need to understand is that we have tikva. Am Yisrael, yesh tikva. We have hope. Tikva from the word kav. Kav is the middle root of tikva, hope. What's this line? What's this line of hope that's in the middle of hope? What is it supposed to teach me? So it's a line that connects me to the past and to the future. There's 3 stages in the life of the soul. There's the past stage where the soul was connected on high to the divine light and was being nourished and filled with divine light in the Olam HaEmet, the great place of nachat and simcha, true simcha, genuine emet that every single one of us felt at one point or another. If we remember back, and each one can by entering our own souls, that gives us tikva. Look where we came from. We came from this heavenly, amazing, exalted place. Then I'll jump the middle ground and I'll go to the future. The future is Geula. The future is Geula, a place of ultimate good. Let's remember, no more exile after this, okay? This is not a temporary war. This is not a temporary pacifying, agent. This is it. This is it, folks. Fasten your seatbelts. This is it. No more war. No more exile. No more pogroms. No more Holocaust. Finish. Done. Over. That's tikva. That means I hold on to that hope that ultimately it's all going to be good. Yet tov, right? It's going to be good. But now I'm stuck in the middle. There's the 3rd place of the neshama. That's the now. The now, the in-between the past and the future. I'm experiencing all this now. What do? How do I keep myself going and pumped up and excited, as I said before, about life? What do? How do I accept the difficulties? So what I do is I give myself strength by attaching myself to the one in the middle. When there's the line, I put myself in the middle there. I hold on to both ends, and I keep holding on to Hashem. I align myself in perfect alignment with Hashem, and I receive from Him the koach called koach HaMishaleach. When I'm on a mission, and every Jew is on a mission, whether they know it or not, whether they're assimilated, Reformed, Conservative, Orthodox, Ger, or Lubavitch, we're all on a mission. We all have tons of holy sparks to redeem. And when we attach ourselves to Hashem, that is where we get the koach. Not only that, but what does Hashem do? It's written, Hashem oz le'amo yiten. Let's analyze this pasuk just for a little bit. Let's understand. What does it mean that Hashem gives strength to His nation? Let's look at it for a minute. We're now at the bottom of the bottom, and so many women are experiencing so many difficulties. Men too, but I'm talking to the women. So many of us are going through deep, deep emotional, spiritual, physical havoc, chaos, darkness of the bottomless pit, mamash. Mamash. And that's one of the things that scared Yaakov Avinu. It's no end. No end. Let's go back to the beginning of time, of creation. Adam HaRishon sins, his sparks, his soul is scattered amongst all four corners of the universe as we know it now. Our neshamas, which are part of the sparks of the soul that fell from Adam HaRishon, we're all now down and scattered and detached from our source. What happens is our job is to redeem ourselves, to find our own private geula. By each and every single one of us finding our own private geula, we eventually merit the collective geula. What happens is every Jew that finds himself in every which corner of the world saying a bracha, suddenly I found myself making a round corner when I shouldn't have gone this way, and my GPS told that way, and I ended up going that way anyway. Why did I have to go there? Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says, because you had to redeem some sparks there. A Jew doesn't find himself for no reason in all Chabad all over the place. There's a reason for that. We have plenty of holy sparks to redeem. So our avoda in this world is to bring about the rectification of this world, to take these holy scattered parts of Adam HaRishon's soul and to refine them and elevate them and bring them back to its source. But who gives us the koach? Who gives the koach to be able to do this? A person is in such a lowly state. Where am I going to find the koach to be able to do that? So Hashem gives us the koach to give back to Him the koach, which then goes back to us and gives us more koach. It's a real partnership that we're going through with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Shechina Kadosha went down in exile, got scattered amongst all of the holy sparks when the holy sparks got scattered from Adam HaRishon. And the Shechina Kadosha pumps vitality into the klipot, into the impure husks of the scattered soul pieces that fell from Adam HaRishon. In other words, when we're down below, and we rebel, and we complain, and we kvetch, and we ask questions that we're not supposed to maybe be asking, Hashem is with us, giving us vitality. He's, so to speak, giving us the ability to continue to rebel. But if it wasn't for the Shechina, if it wasn't for that vitality being pumped into us, we wouldn't be alive. Because as we know, everything has to be sustained by the Shechina. And so in essence, Mashiach can't come until all of these holy sparks are not redeemed. Until every soul is not brought back and reattached to the source of Adam HaRishon, attached back to its source on high, Mashiach can't come. So every time, every single one of us feels like we're down and in despair, we need to remember that the Shechina Kadosha is with us. We need to give the Shechina Kadosha, as it says, Hashem Oz Lamoiten. What am I giving? How do I give strength to Hashem, so to speak? Well, the Shechina Kadosha has no strength, so to speak, of her own. We give her the strength. We give her the strength by enlivening our lives, attaching ourselves to Hashem and our purpose in life by living a life of Emunah. When we live a life of Emunah, we uplift the darkness and we return it back to its source. We sweeten it at its source, and in essence, we redeem holy sparks. We save another neshama. And because the neshamas are so closely linked to one another, they're one attached to the other like a chevel, Chazal teach us. Every soul is next to the other. So those souls that are all the way down, those children of ours that are maybe on the streets, the children of ours that maybe are dwindling a little bit, well, I don't know, is there really a God? And they're down there because they need to elevate sparks to come back up. And we need to give koach to Hashem by doing good deeds, by tefillah, by mesirut nefesh, by sacrificing our comforts, by attaching ourselves to the purpose of life and recognizing why we're here. In other words, injecting Geula consciousness into the Galut. To remember why I'm here means that I'm bringing the Geula into my life right now. And that is hastening. That's hastening the whole process. That's enabling us to be able to see the ultimate good. That's giving us the koach. The Ramchal says that a person who hopes and keeps his mind focused on good, on the positive outcome, which is important to say to anyone who's down from a machala chas v'shalom or for any other reason that any difficulty that they're going through, you have to give them hope because that's their lifeline. The Ramchal says that even if a person finds himself in Esh HaGe'enom, he should never give up hope because it lifts him up. It's his only lifeline. And that's our tafkid, is to give ourselves hope. Give hope to our children. Even the children that appear to be dwindling or questioning, we need to let them know that every little movement that they make uplifts the Shekhinah from its place. And because we're so down below, we don't feel it. But we need to trust that that is what essentially is going on. In other words, Geula is in the works right now. Right now, we're in the preparatory stage. We need to cherish every moment and need to know that every movement that we make for here or for there is making a world of a difference. I'll end off by saying one last thing. It's written in Pirkei Avot, Hakol tzafui ve'areshut netuna. Everything is foreseen and free will is given. There has to be the end of this galut. There's a divine plan. It has to end. And it also has to end with a major transition. It's up to us at this point in time, in our generation, to prepare ourselves slowly, slowly to the idea. As they say that now we've just entered into the 5th hour of the day of Erev Shabbat Kodesh. Shabbat v'yi nafash. We don't realize it, but every single one of us is slowly getting a new nefesh. Every single one of us is being layered with another layer of holiness to prepare us for what? For Shabbat Kodesh. That's the Elef HaShishi, Shabbat Kodesh. And that's why you see people running around a lot, right? We always say, I'm always running around. Why? What do you do before Shabbat Kodesh? You run around. You realize, that's it, the clock is ticking. It's soon Shabbat. If I don't prepare now, when will I be able to prepare? We all feel it. We all know it. We have to trust in ourselves, that sixth sense. We all know it. We all know the Geula is coming. And that's why no matter what we buy and entertain in terms of the materialistic world, we're not content. We're not satisfied. Another tichel, another hat, another shirt, another pair of boots. doesn't satisfy me anymore. Why? Because as you enter into the realm of Kedusha, mundane and materialistic needs fall to the wayside. It's not shayach for me as I'm entering into the intimate meeting and wedding date with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Shabbos Kodesh, and I'm getting a new nefesh that's lifting me up to be able to attach myself to Hashem. It's not shayach for me to be thinking about new clothes. I have to be involved in Kedusha. And that's our avoda right now, is to remember the purpose of life, to attach ourselves to the purpose of Kedusha. That's why we're here. I'm going to say it again, even though I say this very often. Think of this world, the 120 years, God willing, that we live, as a 9-to-5 job. That's what we're here. We're here to work. Our rest, our eternal rest, our IRA pension funds, our saving accounts, our insurance policies, they're all waiting for us. Nobody took them away from us. What you built, what you prepared for Shabbat, is what you enjoy for Shabbat. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're preparing ourselves and the world around us for Shabbat. So it's important that we don't lose hope. But it's important, if we walk away tonight with one thing, that's number one, start entering Geula consciousness. Talk about Geula. Be excited over Geula. Sweep your house and say, I'm sweeping the Beis HaMikdash. Get dressed and say, soon I'm going to be going to the Beis HaMikdash, and the Levi'im are playing tonight. Anyone want to come? That is what we should be doing with ourselves. We should be excited over it, and we should realize when you see something wrong with the picture, with the divine plan, that means I'm not in line with the kav of tikva. There's something wrong with my balance. I need to realign myself, because only good comes from Shemayim. Hashem does only good. He pours only good. If I'm interpreting it as not being good, something wrong with my vessel and the way that I'm taking it in. It's being pumped out properly, but I'm not receiving it properly. So Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully I'll meet you in the streets of Ramat Bet Shemesh, and we'll talk Geula, and we'll get excited over Geula. Be'ezrat Hashem, we're planning an amazing Geula concert as well on the Motzei Shabbos of Hanukkah. We need to get prepared, to be excited, to increase our emunah, and to say to Hashem, we love you, Ad Matai. We're waiting for your glory to be exposed and revealed to the entire world. Like I said, the divine plan has to happen. The question is whether Am Yisrael are going to be on the sidelines with the pom-poms and cheering along the Geula process, or God forbid, if we're not, the question is, what will be our involvement? That's our choice. That's the Reshut Netuna. That's where we have the choice. So Be'ezrat Hashem, let's make the right choice. Let's get excited over the Geula, and I look forward to dancing with everyone in the Beis HaMikdash. B'mehera b'yameinu, amen.